Hello everybody, so in this second part of the tutorial I'm gonna show you how to use Wicket in the proper way. So we say that Wicket is a component-oriented framework. What does that mean? That everything is a component. In particular, we have everything, labels, form, which is a component, and each component is an object. Now, if we look at the home page of the project that we just get with the quick start of Wicket, we see that even the page itself is an object. It has a class and extend another object, which is just the standard web page of Wicket. If we look at this class, we see that even the Wicket application is an object. So we can just extend it, and we can use keywords like extend, new, and so on. So what I want to do is want to show you how to actually do that in the proper way. Let's suppose we have a common problem. We want to add a form in a page. The user can fill out the form, put in some data, and when it clicks on submit, it goes to another page that looks pretty much identical and just displays the value that the user submitted. So I can do that in the standard way. So I start to copy the HTML, I copy all the Java code. That's fine, but we can actually take advantage of the components. What do I mean by that? So let's start to create our pages. I copy the home page in this new project. It's exactly the same page, and I call it base page. Let's close everything. Let's open the base page, HTML. So as you can see, it's exactly the same. Nothing crazy about it. That is still the same wicket identifier, and in the Java side, it actually had the version number of the framework to that label, which is fine. The only difference is this: we added a wicket child just after the congratulation bit, and we know that here we can plug pretty much whatever we want. What I mean by that, I don't know, let's create this page, the home page, which has the form. So let's open this up. Okay, so it's pretty much same HTML, and where in the base page there was the wicket child, now we have the wicket extends, and I have the form. Notice that there is no logic at all in the HTML. There is no action. There's just a wicket identifier. There's a text input and a submit button. Nothing else, right? Why this? This is because all the logic, obviously, is on the Java class. These already show you how we can achieve a completely separation of responsibilities. So we have presentation and markup on one side, business logic and Java on the other. And what I mean by separation is actually everything is separated. There is no logic at all here. We have just identifiers. So let's look at the home page. Because we say that this page is an object, instead of extending the web page like the previous one was doing, now we extend the base page. What does that mean? That we get exactly the same behavior of the superclass. So I don't see that I'm putting here any label with the version. Why? Because that's done in the base page, and we're actually calling it with the super. So we call the constructor of the base page, and then we just add the value. We have this variable here, and the form is using it. So we add the new form. We just use an anonymous inner class to actually override the onSubmit methods. That's the only thing that it does. It just on the submit it calls the second page, which will contain the label with the value that we just passed, and it matches this, right, with the default value of text. And then we have to the form the inputs, the text input. That's it, nothing else. So how does it look the second page? Well, again, it's pretty much the same thing. Why it is like this? Because the only thing that we need uh, on this markup is this. All the rest we know it comes as inherited from the base page. In fact, we can actually do the same thing in the home page. We don't need this anymore. That's it. Very simple. So you can start to see how the code looks very clean and it's very logical. So in the second page we do, well, I'm actually printing it out in the um, system, there we go, and we just add the label with the value that is passed, which is passed from the constructor from here. There we go. So let's save this and let's run it. Let's run again on Tomcat. There we go. So we have our home page with the form, with the default value tag, we add something, and when we submit the form, we go to the second page that displays the text. Just one more thing about the form. Now we start to see that this component is a slightly more complex than a simple label, right? So that's a single label, and this is actually the shortcuts for specifying the model. What I mean by that, um, because everything is a component in wickets, we can actually have MVC on a component level. In fact, these are the data, is the model of the component. This is actually a shortcut for a string, so we don't need to specify any model. But here already we start to see how to use model properly already. Um, I'm not going into the details because we have a simple model, property model, we have a composite model, we have detachable model that will not get serialized, but in particular this is very used and probably one of the most simple one. And what it does, it just basically we are saying the data of this component is uh, this element in our class, and this is the pattern of our property. That's it, very simple. In the next video I'm going to show you how to actually extend this application and show you where for me it becomes very funny to use wickets. So if you enjoyed this one, please watch part 3.